Well, definitely I can't do this in 60 seconds, so I'm going to do a full video. But I will send out a short video to announce this one. Folks, I have today off. It's a holiday at the college where I work as a custodian. And right now, I don't want to talk about the college, even though they're great to me. I don't want to talk about different things that are happening in the world. Definitely don't want to talk about politics right now. But I am a patriotic American with this black lab and the flag. Nice little simple t shirt. But I want to talk about my parents that have both passed away. Mom, a lot more recent. But first, I want to talk about Dad, who died back in 2007. I was gone on a trip. I would be coming back the next day. I did a phone call, 7 p.m. Talked to my parents like I would do most trips when I was gone around that time of the day. And everything seemed okay, other than Dad sounded a little sluggish. And I already told him no plans for him to meet me at Quincy Center T. I would get a taxi cab from Quincy Center. Basically, when I got back into Boston, take the red line to Quincy Center. But I had all the plans when I came out of the taxi cab to see my father's car in the driveway, go in the house. Mom would be at work. Dad, who was already disabled, using a cane and getting around slowly, but he would be there with the dog Papa Bear. A little change of plans when I got out of the cab. A member of the family was walking Papa Bear around with her dog in her car. There was a lot of cars, and some of them were familiar. And I got in the house, and the living room was jam-packed, including my sad-looking mother. Sad in the sense of what she was going through. And I embraced her immediately. It only took 2 seconds to figure out what was going on. I think my Uncle Charlie mentioned my father's death maybe 2-3 minutes into me hugging my mom, and everybody just watching us. And when Aunt Esther asked if she could take my stuff, because I had everything from my trip coming from the taxi cab, I said, Mom, give me a moment. I'm going to bring my stuff, drop it in the room, and freshen up in the bathroom. I'll be right with you. And I really just took 3 minutes. And before I know it, the funeral director, Jim, a friend of the family, someone that had grown up with my dad, was there. And we started working on making plans. Some family was there previous to me being there, helping my mom all day. Because I got home around 3:30. So certain things were already into motion and everything, so it became real quick. My father was in bad health, there was no question there, but if I thought it was going to be that night, I wouldn't have been on a trip. But I don't have a guilt trip on that. That's just the way it was. I didn't have to see that horrible moment. My mom did. But my Uncle Charlie, who was not too far away in Braintree, got to Quincy real quick before they took Dad. And Charlie was pretty sure Dad died previous. They were just trying to rescue him. He was declared right at the hospital. Yeah. And then I'm finding out the next afternoon. Not using cell phones back then. Even though people were using cell phones in 2007, I was not quick to cell phones. I'll tell you that. My mother's bad health, that kind of forced me into it. And now I'm like any other idiot on the cell phone. But my mom's health was in bad shape for about 3.5 years before her passing. And her last hospital visit at South Shore Hospital was 3.5 weeks. And we're getting close to the 2-year anniversary of her passing. It is a Wednesday right now. Saturday will be June 22nd. The anniversary of her passing for 2 years, but it was also their wedding anniversary. My, my parents were reunited in heaven when my mom passed away, right on their wedding anniversary. I think that means something. And kind of similar to when my grandfather, my dad's dad, died. He died on my cousin's birthday, a sweet, sweet girl. And I think Grandpa wanted to survive to that day. It's tough on my cousin. And I think she was 14, but that was tough. But she was a real strong 14-year-old, and she actually up in church, I think it was a prayer or a poem or something. I just remember she was so brave to stand up and do that. Now, I'm careful about giving out names, my cousins and their kids, but uncles and aunts, no problem. Aunt Esther, I still have. Aunt Esther and my mom were childhood friends, and they married Peterson Brothers. And as much as Charlie was not a great man to her, because, Charlie was a type of person that was hard to get along with. But he was a nice guy most of the time. He would do favors for people, but he had his problems, and, And I'm glad Esther found a great man that she's been with for so long. And I'm glad they're doing good, and they're doing a lot of trips lately, and I'm glad for them. And she's the last representative of that generation in our family. God bless, Aunt Esther. Stay healthy. You and Dave, stay healthy. But I miss my mom. Again, in the year 2022, she passed. And she was in real bad shape. But I tell you, the folks at South Shore Hospital, that occasion, as well as South Shore Hospital and other hospitals and nursing homes for rehabs and a trying to do this in one take, by dialysis for the kidneys. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it right, and I'm doing this in one take. There was a place right in Quincy Center, right on Parkin Way, and they took care of her good, but at some point my mom's decided she didn't want dialysis anymore. She didn't want it. But she didn't die quickly. No. She was offered for more than a year. I forget the exact timeline. I used to be able to keep a pretty good idea of what happened that 3.5 years, but a lot of stuff happened. Okay. About 8.5 minutes into this. I'm going to keep it to about 10 minutes. But I miss my mom. I don't really miss what I had to go through, but it's just what I had to do. It was a strain on my job, but my job, the college, treated me good. I know my boss could not count on me. He never knew when I would either have to leave early or not come in or whatever. He was as flexible as he can be, but I know him, and I know he was getting stressed out about it, and I was getting stressed a lot too, and everybody was, and my mom didn't want to keep on fighting. And that last time, she didn't want to fight the infections. Let it take its course, she said. So basically, the hospital was just doing pain management, make sure she was breathing good, and take care of her. And they did an excellent job at South Shore Hospital for that 3.5 weeks. That was a very sad Wednesday morning. It's a Wednesday when I'm doing this, but It was a very, very sad Wednesday morning in the early AM hours when I could not get to the hospital fast enough. I got a call 2:30, and before I could get out of the shower, I had another call from the hospital, from the nurse that had her for the overnight, and your mother has passed. Even if I didn't take the shower, I wasn't going to get there. I had to take a taxi cab from South Quincy to the hospital, so it was going to take a little time. But I did visit with my mom in her room and prayed over her and tried to figure out what was going to happen for that day, the next week, how my life was going to change. And pretty much everything worked out the way I thought. And how was I going to tell my cousins that they lost their aunt? Oh, tough. Very tough. Now we're 11 minutes into the video. But I kind of want to be a little emotional because it is. I've told this story to others. I just wanted to put this on video. I will put it on my YouTube as this. Then I'll delete it from my phone because the memory, I don't want too much on the phone. It takes too much data. But I'll put it on YouTube. I love my mom, love my dad. Right on the gravestone at the National Cemetery in Bourne. My father, a veteran of the United States Army, served in Vietnam. And then my mom passed after him, and she had, surviving spouse benefits that she could be buried there with Dad. So on their wedding anniversary, they were reunited in heaven. Their earthly remains are together. And those two loved each other. Deeply, deeply. So that's all perfect. And on that gravestone it says, God bless my parents. I repeat, God bless my parents. That was very important to me. Well, I know I wanted to put this out. I was going to try to do 8 to 10 minutes. I think this is going about 15. But I love my parents. And I also love the people that surrounded me. Family and friends, as well as the good people of Eastern Nazarene College. And thank you. 2 years later, Crazy Tom, Cousin Tom, Tom McQuincy, Thomas Peterson, whatever. I am thankful. I'm thankful, and I appreciate all the support. All the support. Like I try to say all the time, have a great one.